could like look in the camera. You want to do something to welcome new people to it, to the Avid community. So if you just want to look at the camera and say, welcome to the Avid community.
You don't have to do that if you don't want to.
If you don't want to, it's okay. If you don't want to.
Sure.
So now you made you self-conscious about it by yelling.
Or you can, right.
Sorry.
Or you can say, welcome to Avid, which Matt would prefer.
I like that better, of course.
Okay.
Let me say that. Welcome to Avid.
Welcome to Avid.
Beautiful.
Okay, can I have you just give your name and credits one last time to him? Just
Sure. Yeah, I'm Stephanie Philo, and I'm a TV editor. Do you want me to spell it or anything?
no. That's
Okay.
fine.
Great.
Okay.
You need stills?
Yes.
Just a couple still shots up there. Put that.
Cameras are over. And we're
Okay,
doing
so
this.
we need some. Yeah.
And we're doing this for fun. Just
We're doing the slate.
Nice.
you see,
Yes.
interview with Stephanie. Take one.
So we'll go ahead and start with, we're going to say your name and some of the shows you have been working on, or
Sure. Well, my name is Stephanie Philo. I'm a TV and film editor. I just recently finished working on a show called Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story. So it's a limited series coming out next year about Jeffrey Dahmer, which is very uplifting, as you can imagine. And then before that, I was working on a Black Lady sketch show.
the Emmy Award winning, right?
Yes.
So congratulations again on your award.
Thank you very much.
So we're here to talk about, of course, Media Composer, and you use Media Composer in the Black Lady sketch show, so thank you. So as you're using Media Composer, are there any go-to features that you'd like to maybe tell somebody about?
Sure. So the feature that I absolutely can't live without in Media Composer is Select All Right. It sounds like such a basic feature, but I love, I think when I
it was a skill that not a lot of people had that could do film dailies and knew the Avid. This would have been in the mid '90s, and I started working for Richie Marks, who was my mentor and the editor that I worked for came up under. So it was and he was just starting out on the Avid, and after cutting film on a chem and a lot of great films on chems and uprights.
So you know how to use that machine over there.
I do know how to use an upright. I can change the bulb. I can burn my fingers. I can do it all.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was the worst. Change the bulb fast.
It's like when I talk to people who had the cutter, the blade that would always cut everybody's wrist because they're reaching.
Yeah,
over the top.
I've been as a Vizzo splice scar. Yes, thanks. Thank you, Walter Murch. Putting the blade up where you go, reaching for tape. And you always remember where you cut yourself on which show it was.
Do you?
Yes,
Drawing first blood.
exactly.
Do you want to say it?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Good.
Yes.
Interview with Jeff. Take one.
Take one of them. So yeah, the very casual conversation.
Sure.
Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and maybe mention some shows and films that you've worked on.
Okay. I'm Jeffrey Ford. I am a film editor. I most recently cut Spider-Man: No Way Home for Marvel and Sony, and I've also cut a bunch of superhero movies like Avengers: Endgame, Infinity War. Too numerous to mention.
It's a very popular, low budget film.
Yeah. Yes.
That's awesome. So you've been an editor for many years. You always want to be an editor?
Yeah, it's actually when I was about 10, 11 years old, I started making movies with a Super 8 camera, and my mom made us a Spider-Man costume, so I started making Spider-Man movies when I was, probably about 10 or 11, and so I feel like I kind of been doing the same thing since 1978. But yeah, that was kind of how I started, and I really got the bug early, making films on Super 8 and learning how to splice them with the Super 8 splicers that they made, and it was sort of just like mind blowing. You realize you could cut out the bad parts.
So you learned Media Composer coming from film. As you're editing on Media Composer, are there any standout features that you use all the time? Is it trimming? Is it scripting? Is it the basic script sync? Or just go ahead and maybe one or two things that, and feel free when you're thinking about answering, don't worry about, if you're having a thought or want to say
Sure.
something again,
Got
you can cut all of that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Media Composer is absolutely essential tool for me. I mean, I've cut all the films that I've edited on it, and it is sort of an extension of my brain at this point. So the understanding and interaction with the timeline for me is second nature. It's like learning to play an instrument, and you learn to play it in a way that's it's like being fluid in a language or fluent in a language where you just speak it without really concentrating. You can get into a flow state that way, and I feel like it's taken years, but Media Composer is like an extension of my brain, and so the functionality of it is not something I ever really think about, but when I do, it kind of blows my mind about all the things that it does to help us make films. And I can't imagine making a movie without it. It's an incredibly powerful piece of technology, and it keeps getting better with each subsequent issue. I'm always excited for the new one. I know some people aren't always. They're a little scared about when things get updated, but I'm always like, oh, this is even better. But I would say that for me, the structure and organization of the timeline in Media Composer, it's obviously it's like the basis for the entire architecture of the interface. But that timeline is the movie. It is the film as it's being created. It's a living, breathing, changing thing. So I would say that of all the functionality, all of the features, the design of that timeline seems simple, and yet it is an unbelievably powerful organizational tool. And I will say that editing is very much about organization. It's about picking the right thing, having good priorities, putting those things in the right order to tell the best story you can. And that's what the organizational tools on an Avid do. They allow you to prioritize and organize so that you can find everything that you need quickly. But more importantly, it structures your thinking. It structures your narrative. It's that timeline is what we look at every day to find out where we are in the story. So I would say that is something that I don't really think about, but is incredibly crucial. And we've modified our timeline in my cutting room so that it does a lot of things. It collects visual effect shots. It contains the director's notes on a certain layer that we can reveal when we take the mat off. It can map the show for IMAX. It can map the show for 240 if there's different